All right, guys, welcome back to the final round. My name is Jake, and today we're going to talk about the rising welterweight star, Michael Morales. This guy's a fucking monster, dude. Um, he's farm formed his way through 6 wins in the UFC. Pretty much all of them have been good. We're going to go over his 6 UFC fights, whole career, pretty much, and sort of talk about he is a monster, but you know, is he going to be contending with the true top five in this division, who he's about to go face a tough opponent in Sean Brady, who has proven he can beat the top five guys before, or at least contend with them. We sort of know that with Morales, we sort of don't. So we're going to get right into that. Obviously, he has an upcoming fight against Sean Brady at UFC 322. Um, that and that's going to be the featured bout on the main card, obviously before the co-main between Valentina and Wei Lee, and then the main event between JDM and Islam. It's a good fight because their combined records are 36-1. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good combined record. The one loss that either guy has is Sean Brady's loss to Bilal Muhammad, which was a knockout loss, which is partly why I'm going with Morales in this matchup because now I think the biggest question that we have about Michael Morales is can he defend the takedown consistently? We haven't. Now he defended against Gilbert. He defended against Jake Matthews decently well, but he has been taken down. It's not like he's 100% takedown defense. Um, he's had some hiccups on the ground, nothing major, but he's taking on a real world class grappler in Sean Brady, who has pretty much out grappled everybody in the UFC that he's fought outside of Bilal, but that was more because of his striking, to be honest. And Sean Brady has improved in his striking, but we'll get back to that in a minute. Let's go look at Michael Morales' career so far. Um, he's young, guys. He's 26, only 2 years older than me. You're older than Isaiah. I mean, he's young. Shout out to our boy Jason Gomez. Shout out, brother. This video is for you. Yeah, well, no, I'm not for you, but you know what I mean. You Ecuadorian hog. Obviously Michael Morales is the only, well, not the only fighter from Ecuador on the UFC roster. Obviously, a couple others, but I mean, he is, I mean, if let's just say big what if here, but still is possible. He wins this fight and wins the title and goes on a great run. He's going to become one of the, you know, certainly the biggest superstar in the country of Ecuador and maybe one of the biggest stars in the world. I mean, he's got the potential, he's got the charisma, he's got the looks, he's got the muscles, he's got the speed, the power, everything, the size, the stature, the build, everything you need for a world class superstar fighter. Michael Morales has got all of it in spades. So let's go look at his career. He turned. He didn't really have that we know of. He didn't really have any significant amateur stuff. But he started his pro career in 2017. And then he ran through some wins. He had a decision in his third fight, but was still winning fights. Um, he fought a bunch of local guys, or not local guys, but I might say regional fighters. Nobody of any massive skill. Um, but he was young. He was 2017 when he turned pro. Guys, 2017 is 8 years ago. 8 years ago, almost 8 or 9 years ago. Michael Morales was 18, 8 years ago. 9 years he was 17, so he's 17 or 18 years old when he turns pro. And I know he wasn't probably fighting the best competition, obviously, but he was still winning fights. Um, so he had his first appearance was on the contender series. He took on Nikolai Valentinnikov, current UFC fighter, who I don't think is really, he's not great, but I think he's mediocre at best. And it was It was a dominant decision. He looked pretty well in there, and then he came into the UFC firing. Had a really good round one finish over Trevor. I was gonna say Giles or Trevor Giles. He had a pretty good scrap with Adam Fugit. I'm sorry, Fugit. Um, and then he had two canceled bouts. One against Ramiz Brahimaj. Brahimaj was lucky he didn't get that one. And then Renat Fakhretdinov. Man, that fight. It would have been great because it would have taken off Fakhretdinov, which would have been great because screw Fakhretdinov. The guy sucks. I hate him. And then he had back-to-back decisions where you saw him progressing, but you also saw, okay, maybe he is still learning and stuff. But I think both of those, the first one was against Max Griffin in July 2023. I went back and I watched that fight. Doesn't hasn't aged well, but yeah, he was successful. But you understand at the time, you know, he's what 22, 23. He's still young. I think he was a little confident in that fight. The Jake Matthews fight, I think, is more of a credit to Jake Matthews than it is to Mike Morales. Mike Morales fought well. He won the fight, but Jake Matthews lasted all three rounds and was competitive, and and certainly and certainly one round in there maybe. Max Griffin definitely win any rounds. He lost all three. And then he goes in the fight against Neil Magny, and he just blows him out of the water. I mean, it wasn't close. So, he just played with him and finished him in the first round. And then he was scheduled to fight Gilbert Burns at UFC 315. It was rebooked to a fight night at the Apex between himself and Gilbert, as you can see right here. And this was obviously a big test, even though Gilbert at the time at 22-8, clearly on a slide, clearly not who he used to be as a fighter. This is not the Gilbert that was on his title run before he lost to Kamaru. But I love Gilbert. He's one of my favorite fighters. I love Dorino. He's awesome. He's a stud. He always comes to fight. He did win that Hamza. He did win that Hamza fight in 2022 or 2021. Me and Isaiah both have agreed that he did win that fight. And that was bullshit. And he's, unfortunately for him, this was the back off of 3 straight losses. The first one to Bilal Muhammad, which he was really injured for, probably shouldn't even have had the fight. And then he took on Jack Della Atlanta, which was a good fight, which he was not winning in the third round, but he was competitive. It was 7-1-1, having a lot of success, and then he got finished in that fight. Who's the current champion, by the way? And then he got outclassed by Sean Brady, which was kind of too soon. It was March, and then he fought September against Sean Brady, and he got beat. Now, in terms of between him and Sean Brady, on one of their common opponents is Gilbert Burns. Now, I think it's a different Gilbert Burns than Sean Brady fought. Sean Brady fought a Gilbert Burns that was coming off of a fight to get out to a future champion. Obviously, the reigning champion right now, Jack Della Atlanta. But it is hard to judge that common opponent thing. So I'm just gonna throw it out and just say, you know what? Unfortunately, Gilbert's not the same guy anymore, and it hurts. Usually, I get pissed when older fighters say, "Yeah, with one win, I'm back in the title picture." It's like, dude, you've lost 3 straight. Shut up. Yeah, if you knock the guy out in 30 seconds and you get another win, maybe, but and that when I get it. As a former fighter, I understand the mindset that you have to have. You have to have focus on that. You have to have a goal. I get it. But I think some fighters could really use some realistic thinking, especially at that point in their career. Like, dude, hang up the gloves. I do hope that Gilbert Burns does retire. I would like him to get one more win, to not finish with 10 losses, because there are a lot of guys who have 10 losses. If I was Gilbert, I would call it now, or I'd fight some guy who I know I can beat. But you have to kind of put it in a certain way to look at it, and when you look at it, it's so hard to judge these wins, whether it's Morales' win over Gilbert or Sean Brady's win over Gilbert. But Mike Morales, whichever way you slice it, he knocked out the Shannon Gilbert in one round. It wasn't close. He blew him out of the water, stuffed it, or I think he got him takedown or whatever, and he obliterated Gilbert. And we've never seen Gilbert get destroyed like that. Because even when he fought Kamaru, he was having success up until he got knocked out. But he was, and also, yeah, understand. The Gilbert is 39. Morales was 25, 26. He's probably not even at his prime, whereas Gilbert is a couple years removed from his prime, pretty much. Um, and it was a great performance for Gil. Yeah, die for Michael Morales. I do feel bad for Gilbert, but this is probably his fight with Sean Brady. It's sort of the perfect fight because Sean Brady isn't. He's not 35, but he's not 27. How old is Sean Brady? Sean Brady's 32. He's probably at his peak in prime. And here's the thing. This is why it's all or nothing for Sean Brady. For Mike Morales, it's not all or nothing. If he loses this fight to Sean Brady, if let's say he gets taken down and he gets beat on the takedowns and he can't get up, he's 26. He'll be 18 and young because he's undefeated. So he'll have his first loss to a guy who himself only has one loss, and guess what? He can get back in, and also you know he can get back in there and rebuild himself and be better in a couple years if he were to lose. But what's also great about this fight is you have pretty much the two fastest and rising fighters within welterweight right now. Yes, you do have Ian Gary. He is also there. I don't like him. I hope he loses to Bilal, but he probably won't. But with Morales and Brady, both of them, I mean, the only loss they've had coming up, Mount Morales is Sean Brady to a former world champion in Bilal Muhammad. And that was when Sean Brady had no striking and had no cardio, and he has reformed himself into have good cardio. I do think that cardio will have a factor because it's not a 5-round fight; it's a 3-round fight. I think it's a little different, and that does favor Morales with the youth edge, obviously. But it's gonna be fascinating. And man, if Michael Morales can go in there and knock out Sean Brady, I know he's been knocked out before, but he was gassed and tired. Obviously, if he goes in there and blows out Sean Brady in the first 2 rounds, there is no denying that Michael Morales has to jump the line and get the title shot next. Especially if it's Islam who wins the welterweight title on Saturday. Now, I expect it to be Jack Della Maddalena. Personally, I do think Sean Brady, as a fan of Jack, I think Sean Brady is a better matchup for Jack Della Maddalena. And a reason why I say that is you'd think, oh yeah, Jack would beat the shit out of Morales on the feet. He might. He might. But Morales is so freaking fast. He's probably the only fighter at welterweight that has speed equivalent to Jack with his hands, with his feet, with striking boxing. He's the only guy that's got the speed. Sean Brady is quick. He's actually pretty quick for a striker nowadays. He's he's very quick on his takedowns, everything's very fast. But it's more strength and speed where strength is first and then it's speed. With Morales, it's speed, 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 and then my strength. Um, it goes hand in hand. But man, Michael Morales is a monster, and for the first time, I'm going to be seeing him live, and I'm going to be very, very interested to see because let's say he does lose to Sean Brady and it's a close fight, and he shows some potential but shows some flaws, and Sean Brady wins the fight, sort of kind of a well-rounded fight. It just beats him based on experience or let's say maturity or whatever it is, and he wins the fight by split decision or UD or whatever. I'll be sitting there going, okay, Mike Morales is still right there. He's still right there, but he's 26, he's young, and that is sort of how I see a victory for Sean Brady sort of coming. He could win by submission too, but he's probably not going to knock out Mike Morales unless it's like third round and Morales is gassed, which is a possibility. And here's the thing: it's not like we haven't seen Morales go to distance. Now we haven't seen him go the distance against a true top 10 opponent. The only true top 10 opponent he's fought in is Gilbert Burns. I thought that Jake Matthews was top 10, but he just lost to Neil Magny, so maybe he's not. I do think that outside of Gilbert, Neil and Jake Matthews were truly the perfect opponents for him to fight within that division, to progress himself. But he hasn't really fought any true top 10 guy in his prime. And that makes sense. He's young and they're pushing him and they want success for him. And that's why Sean Brady is the perfect matchup for him. And man, Michael Morales is a monster. I'm excited to see him. And we will see him at UFC 322 Saturday in the featured bout against Sean Brady live at the Mecca of, truly, the Mecca of combat sports, Madison Square Garden in New York, New York. Buy your pay-per-views now. Because honestly, as much as I'm the biggest Rob fan, you really don't have to watch 323 because I feel like what the UFC is going to do is when the year ends and we get to New Year, I think they're going to release that entire event maybe on the UFC site because a lot of fans are going to be getting rid of it. I think a lot of fans, as much as everyone loves Morale, a lot of fans, but more casual fans, not like true casuals, but people who aren't like people who care about the sport but aren't like either don't have the time to be hardcores like me or Isaiah, or if you just you're not as much into those guys on the 323 card. I could see you maybe getting rid of your ESPN subscription and going to Paramount. I got to be honest, I'm not sure if I'm going to buy Paramount because I saw me and my sense to Isaiah where it shows a video of TJ after he lost to Henry, right after the whole EPO debacle, and he's going fuck, and he's hitting walls, and at the top it said UFC fans when we wake up on January 1st, 2026, and Paramount's $80. So I'll believe this whole $10 nonsense or less than $20 nonsense when I see it for Paramount because I don't believe that shit for a second, guys. I ain't falling for that one, Dana Pink, fucker. But no, I'm very excited to see Michael Morales fight because I haven't seen Sean Brady fight live, but I've watched more of Sean Brady's fights. I've only seen because I didn't watch the Jake Matthews fight because honestly, I wasn't really turned on to Michael Morales as a prospect until he fought Neil Manning. Isaiah's been following him a little bit longer. I have gone back and I have watched his fights, all of them actually. But obviously, I watched all of them before he fought Gilbert. Obviously, I went back and I watched the Gilbert fight a couple days ago and the Max Griffin fight because the Max Griffin fight was the fight that he had the most, I'd say, surface damage to his eye. His eye was swelling a bit. He had a couple bruises and small scrapes and cuts. Um, but it's interesting. He's a fascinating guy because he's 26. There could be some immaturity come in. There could be lack of experience. There's so many things that could come in to disrupt the undefeated career and the ascent of Michael Morales. But nothing seemed to stop him so far. And not sure if Sean Brady will, but we will see. I don't. I didn't even look at Isaiah's breakdown vid. I'll watch it tonight or tomorrow before we do our before we do our Fighters Lounge tomorrow, which will be our whole breakdown of the card. Well, it's more breakdown. It's me a breakdown of a card, our experience at MSG, the whole 322 experience, pretty much for us at the Final Round HQ here. But I'm not sure who I'm going with. I think right now I am going to go with Mike Morales. That's probably going to be my pick. But I have kind of seen things and seen stuff and been thinking that, man, Sean Brady definitely could win this fight. I don't think he will, but he definitely could win. So, but we'll see. I do think that Michael Morales will get the win. Now, it's all ifs. As I say to Isaiah, what do we know about the sport? Nothing. Nothing. We don't know dick. We don't know nothing. We don't know nothing. Georgie fucking Kaluga. We don't know nothing. People who know the Job of the Hut stuff know the Job of the Hut guy, the Italian guy. Might have got that reference. It's just so fascinating, man. But if it's an if, obviously we haven't seen it yet. If Michael Morales is truly going to ascend to be this monster superstar, rising megastar guy from Ecuador that everyone thinks he's going to be, he is going to get Sean Brady out of there within the first 2 rounds. Certainly finish him for sure. But we'll see. I do think that if it gets to a striking match, I don't think Sean Brady's going to quit. I think Sean Brady has enough confidence now, after he's lost the Bilal, building stuff back up, to if he gets to a point where Morales hurts him, I'm hoping he doesn't just shoot right away. Because as fans, we'd rather see Sean Brady, maybe trade with Michael Morales, maybe clip Michael Morales a little bit, and losing the striking than just get get Morales down and then be too exhausted and then lose the same way lost in Bilal, which was because he couldn't get takedowns and Bilal just swung out of it and battered him until the fight was over. Um, but we'll see, guys. We'll see. That's gonna do it about my video here about Michael Morales. Very excited to see this guy fight. He's got all the hype behind him, and now he's getting probably the biggest showcase any super young up and coming rising guy can get. A showcase featured bout against a true top tier world class competitor who is ranked similarly to him within the top 10 of the division at the freaking Mecca at Madison Square Garden. You really can't get a bigger showcase than this, Michael Morales. It doesn't exist. This is the big one. Because, like, as I said, he goes in there and he finishes Sean Brady in the first 2 rounds. Number one, MSG will explode. Number two, me and Isaiah will go crazy. And number three, we will pretty much have a true number one contender. This guy, well, not contender, but truly, everyone's going to be saying this is the guy who's going to fight the winner of the main event. So we'll see. That's going to do it, guys. My name is Jake. Thanks for watching. And remember, the greatest, of course, like, subscribe, do everything. We got all this stuff coming this week. Tons of good videos. We're pumping out content. Thank you guys for the support. We have gone from like 33 to 36 subscribers last week, a week and a half ago, to we're at like 200 now. So we're exploding. We're cooking with fucking grease, baby. I love it. Isaiah loves it. We're happy. We love it. We love making videos for you guys. Blah, 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 blah. I don't shut up. My name is Jake. Thanks for watching. And remember, the greatest fighters always leave it all in the final round. We'll see you guys.